Today is episode number 27. I was mistaken. I thought it was 28. I skipped one. Apparently, it's 27. Today, it is just me and Franco. Unfortunately, Joe had work, I think, right? Work.
Ooh, Joe. Ooh, work. Ooh, capitalism.
So it's just me and Franco. Franco, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. Stay hydrated, guys. Today I was always drinking. I was so thirsty today. It's incredible. Otherwise, yeah, it's been a good weekend. Watched some movies, watched a series, and I also had a celebrity brush up. But first, before I speak about that, how are you, Andrea?
Okay, I'm happy today. I finished my corrections, the first set of corrections that I have. There are 7 corrections. So finally, that's over. The first half is over. Let's put it that way. But the big batch at least is over.
Year 7. Year 7. What do you mean, year 7?
Year 7 is in Form 1.
Now they changed it now. So
yes, it's back to years now. Back to years.
I remember back in the day. I remember Form 1. Back in the day. Sorry. We're becoming old, like this podcast. Episode 27. Hey, yeah, guys, let's keep going.
I bet it's almost 30, almost my age, you know.
Almost. Yeah, I am the oldest. I remember. Thank you for reminding the audience that I am the boomer in this triad over here.
But apart from that, good. Like I said, very happy that that part of the ordeal is over. Next part of the ordeal will come next week. Happy that my new headphones arrived. Dynamic nice. 900X Pro. They're like a massive improvement. I didn't have the worst of headsets, Ezra. I didn't have the worst of headsets.
Yeah, I was nodding, pretending that I know what he's talking about the headsets. But actually, I have to change mine as well because there's no noise cancellation, and it bothers me, especially when I'm out and working and I plug these to my camera to listen to the sound. It's very distracting, but slowly does it because we're broke. Hey, yeah, finish. Let's hope the last of the month comes. And also, guys, we forgot last time. Happy Pride Month to all our LGBTQ audience. Hope you're having a good month. There's also going to be the Pride celebrations in Malta in September. So happy Pride Month. I hope you're enjoying it. And we're also going to discuss a bit of some of our favorite LGBTQ movies as well.
Definitely.
So yeah, but before we go, I have to speak about my brush with stardom. I actually met Marvel actor and Barbie actor Simu Liu. So it was very coincidental. I was out on a date and we decided to go have dinner at Drunken Dumpling. Not a sponsor, but it's so fucking tasty. Guys, try it. Like the chow mein is so good. And yeah, he was sitting there in the corner chilling. It's like I didn't make a fuss. It was my first brush with big actor. So I just went up to him. Hi, how are you? How are you doing? How are you liking Malta? And then I let him enjoy his dinner as well. And he said that he's really enjoying the movie that he's doing. It's called The Last Breath. He did a live on Instagram speaking about it. And he enjoyed Drunken Dumpling as well. If Simuli likes the Drunken Dumpling, that's a good that's a good sign. And yeah, then he was going and I told him to break a leg. But before he went away, he asked me a question. And he asked me, what is the Ad Lib Podcast all about?
Yes, you're very, very, very pertinent and very important question. Good. Proceed, Simon, and proceed for following us. So, what is the Ad Lib Podcast all about? It's all about movies, all about series, all about video games. We're here to talk about some news. We've got some trailers as well today. We've got 3 trailers. 2 movies, 1 series actually. Then we've got some news, some box office news. We've got some news from Disney. And unfortunately, once more, we've got another sexual assault to talk about.
And again, in Disney. I think Disney really tries to find these kind of people, huh?
Yep.
Now, there was also Summerfest, and there was also the some Xbox games launch as well. Some people thought there was going to be BioShock Infinite, but it was actually something called Clockwork Revolution, which looks nice. There was also something that also struck me. It was also Final Fantasy. Nicolas Cage in Left 4 Dead. Was it Left 4 Dead? Is it Left 4 Dead or Dead by Daylight?
Dead by Daylight. Oh, I don't remember. Oh, no, I was watching it and
there was also Cyberpunk, the DLC, which is which blows the original Cyberpunk out of the water, apparently.
It's apparently 30 euros, but knowing CD Projekt Red, it will be a good DLC because I played the Witcher 3 DLCs. They're absolutely fantastic. Really, really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Nice. The gamer dishing you the gamer news.
Yeah.
Anyway, so shall we start, buddy?
But we can talk about that. We can talk about that in the news. Actually, I'll bring up the games. Then we can really quickly skim through all the games. Through the ones we're most interested in, to be honest.
True.
I'd love to talk a little bit then about one particular game that's coming out very soon, which I'll talk about later on. But we'll do that in like the gaming section. Actually, we should make this a thing, a gaming section every episode.
Hopefully. It depends how many games you play, because I don't play any games except for Mahjong Candy. That's what I'm doing. Mahjong. that's my game. My brother, however, is playing Ghosts of
Tsushima.
Yes,
that's
Ghosts
good.
of Tsushima.
That's really good. That's really good. That's
great.
Really good.
He also played the demo of Lies of P as well.
That's one of those that really has me in mind.
Now, what's hooking me, and I'm like, my hands are itching to play it, is Diablo 4, man. Diablo 4. It's.
I can talk about Diablo 4 today as well.
That's another.
Actually, shall we get into it then? Let's talk about what we've been doing this week, Franco.
Yeah, I can actually start by saying that I finally finished this book by the author Giselle Mercer. These were his first stories that were censored back in 1928, if I'm not mistaken. They were originally published in, let's check. I'm checking the book right now. It's basically a book about the devil telling stories about hypocrisy, basically, back in Malta. So, and the church wasn't very keen on this. Yeah, this is back in 1928, and they got censored. It was a bit difficult because I haven't read a book in Maltese in ages, and there were some turns of phrases that were kind of difficult for me to grasp. Otherwise, it's an interesting book, and I think it's still relevant. The way people present themselves, and the way and the things that they do behind closed doors. It's like. And there's a good at the end of the book there's a good take from Emmanuel Mifsud and Everest Baltoro. but right now I'm reading another book called The Ethical Slut, which is a book about ethical non-monogamy, but not just. There's also all the ways you can sustain a relationship, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, whether you don't, whether you're gender non-conforming. It gives you tips to have multiple partners. So it's a great book. I suggest it to anyone who's open for ethical non-monogamy, and also for monogamous couples as well. And otherwise, there was this show, a horror show called From. So far, so good. I'm enjoying it. I know it's produced by the Russo brothers, but there's nothing to show that it's Russo brothers. I feel like
it's a good sign.
And the special effects, I cannot say exactly the special effects how they look like, because they're very short bursts where they show the monsters. So basically, let's explain the story. There's this small village in rural America where people can enter but cannot leave. And at night, these monsters come to hunt down these villagers. So they have this sort of ritual they have to do every night. so that they don't get to the villagers. And it's gory. It's gory as well. Like they really go there. Like they even show, so trigger warning, they even show a child like dismembered. So
shit. All right.
it's one of the inciting incidents. And yeah, there's a new family that comes in with their caravan. They have an accident and they have to. The first episode was quite tense. You know, they're making sure that the monsters don't come into the caravan, the overturned caravan. There's Harold Perrineau, if you remember Harold Perrineau, I think he was in The Matrix and also in a series called Oz.
The Matrix. What was he in The Matrix?
Link. He was the guy.
Oh, all right. Okay. Now I see it. 28 weeks later. I don't remember him in 28 weeks later either.
No, even me. Maybe it was a secondary. There's Jeremy Renner, really?
I completely forgot it.
Me too. It's time for a rewatch. But yeah, it's interesting. And then we're gonna review it later on. It's Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Yes.
Very, 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 very sweet film.
Yes. That's it, Franco.
Yeah.
Okay, so my week, like I said, I was very, very busy this week, so not like I got to watch too much stuff. I started The Idol this week. I have some thoughts, so for anyone who has not heard, and I will assume that any of our viewers and listeners have heard, maybe not watched it, but have heard about it. The Idol
4.8.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Is a story of Jocelyn. Jocelyn, who apparently had this nervous breakdown after the death of her mother. She's kind of like trying to recover her fame and her big name status. She meets the Weeknd, right? I forgot what his name is in
Tedros.
Tedros. And there's instant chemistry. Now I put it in inverted commas because it's supposed chemistry. And anyways, we see as Lily Rose Depp's character, Jocelyn, kind of goes about her day. They're working on this new song, this big hit. Apparently it's going to be a big hit. They're working on the dancing. And now I watched the first episode and I watched 3/4 of the second episode. And the second episode, we can already see where the story is going, because we can see kind of like this up and coming dancer, Diane, acted by Jenny Kim, who is kind of shows she's super talented and much more stable than Jocelyn. And so the kind of like the producers are veering towards her rather than Jocelyn, because Jocelyn obviously has a lot of issues and so on and so forth. So that's the general storyline.
Jenny Kim, for all you K-pop stands out there, she's part of Blackpink.
Oh, she's a very good dancer. Very good dancer.
No, she is very talented. Like she has a solo career now. They started a solo career. I mean, Jenny Kim is actually a K-pop star. She's part of the group Blackpink. So
yeah,
yep.
It shows. She's very good. She's very good. She's probably the best thing about this, actually.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a well-produced series. Let's start with the positives. It's a well-produced series. Overall, I can see the idea behind it, kind of like going into the excesses of Hollywood and the everyday life of a star and what they go through. At the same time, there is a big issue. There are two big issues with the series. So the way it's shot, cinematography, the production value, it's beautiful to look at. It's well shot. Even the dances are choreographed really well. That aspect of the series is very good. And to be honest, most of the performances are quite decent as well. So Lily Rose Depp is actually pretty good in this. But there are two big issues. Number one, the dialogue is sometimes really, really bad. Like really bad, like cringe-worthy bad. And I don't know if it's a coincidence or maybe it's just a really bad performance, but I think The Weeknd gets all the worst lines. But then there's also the fact that his performance is horrific in this. Like any moment he's on screen, you're like, what is going on? Like, I know Joe will kind of disagree because he said it's not as bad as he thought it would be. I disagree completely. I think the performance by The Weeknd is a train wreck, absolute disaster, really bad. The first episode was worrying how bad his performance was in the first episode. So there's that to talk about. And obviously the issue with the lines, right? That some of the dialogue is super cringeworthy, and some of the moments, the last few minutes, if you've watched the first episode, you know what I'm talking about. The last few minutes of The Idol.
I
haven't. My God.
I'm not ready yet. But
it's like really bad. Now, I'm no prude, right? Put as much sex and sexuality and in series as you want. But here, sometimes it does feel like they're overdoing it a little bit. And like, I kind of get what you remember when we were looking at the reviews, Franco, on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was like, oh, they're being prudes, but actually, I don't think they were. I think it is overdone a little bit in the series. So those are my thoughts so far.
No, it's like you said, you have to have some redeeming factors to it. You know, you have to, the structure, the way the story has to structure, has to justify the inclusion of these scenes as well, you know. And no, I'm no prude either. And I was actually watching Hasanabi reacting to this, and he said that the thing people shouldn't do is hate watch.
Hate watch, yes,
hate
the
watch.
Worst.
and secondly, I'm not entirely on board with his take where he says like this is fiction. In a way, I understand what he's saying. It's like it's pointless getting all your panties tied up about this. So that's a bad turn of phrase. Let me rephrase it. It's worthless getting all worked up about this, because there's worse things in real life going on, which I get it. Again, there's that fine line where it's like people said like are they like fulfilling their male fantasies when it's
yes.
like this that really fine line. That really fine line is whether this is just an excuse of putting a work of art again inverted commas to actualize those abuses, so to speak, and have that sort of cushion of saying, yeah, this is art, this is fiction. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the line will say, yes, this is fiction. Everything was made in a consensual manner. But then again, it's like, again, I haven't watched an episode yet of it all. I have to watch it first to get my bearings. So yeah, that's my take. But otherwise, then I mean, Hasanabi is right in saying, like, guys, you're getting worked up about this thing. It's like there's so much worse shit going on in real life right now, especially in America and what's going on. But and even the way Twitter doesn't, it's Twitter discourse anyways. Like that says everything. Those two words say everything about the reactions to the Idol. No, but yes, there's so many movies where they really go, like we're going to mention now later on, since it's Pride Month, we're going to mention some LGBTQ movies where they really are quite erotic, so to speak.
Yes.
But that's for the section coming up.
Yes. Another movie I watched this week, because I had not watched it yet, was Bumblebee, and I was pleasantly surprised because I had stopped watching the Transformers movies because they were too much for me. I just couldn't keep up with what was going on screen. It was giving me headaches, and after the first, I think 2 or 3, I was done, right? There's like 7. But I was pleasantly surprised that this was directed by Travis Knight, and this is a very well-made movie. Bumblebee is a very, very well-made movie. Travis Knight, who made... I don't think I've watched anything else by him.
Kubo and the Two Strings.
But this is a very, very well-made movie. Very emotional. I was surprised. I was feeling emotional in a Transformers movie. Like from the opening 20 minutes, like when Charlie meets Bumblebee. It's very emotional, and the relationship that develops between the two, really well done. Well written as well. The story develops, and I hate when movies and series kind of tell you stuff about the character, but then they're not worth anything in the story. But it's a very good thing here in Bumblebee, where the character elements we learn about Charlie all pay off in the end. And I was very pleasantly surprised about that element of this movie. So very well made movie. And obviously I watched Bumblebee because then I was going to go watch Transformers Rise of the Beast, which I'll talk about in the review section. I also watched The Crowded Room, the first 3 episodes of The Crowded Room, the controversial, well, I wouldn't say controversial, but more like who's right? Is it the critics, the audience? Because obviously of the Rotten Tomato ratings. So I'll talk about that in the review section as well. And finally, I played not a lot, but quite a bit of Diablo. As Franco knows, I'm a big fan of the Diablo franchise. Very well made game. Very, very, very well made game. 0 issues so far, 0 bugs, 0 problems. One of the first AAA games I played in a while where I had 0 issues. Like, it's very well made. Voice acting is top notch. The graphics, the sound effects are so good. The best sound effects I've ever heard in a game. The music is beautiful. The soundtrack, so good at setting the mood and then like this atmosphere of demons which are taking over the world and everyone fucking depressed and crying. So it sets the tone and the mood perfectly. Very well made games. I'm really enjoying it so far.
I was watching some gameplay videos there. Even the color scheme is very.
Oh, the colors.
Blacks and reds are very, and even the white. So it's so good. I watched the cutscene again of Inarius' army and Lilith's army. It's like, oh my god, it's so good.
And the design for Lilith is so good. Design for Lilith is just
Mother Lilith.
Mother Lilith. And they call her mother, like in the first set piece in the game, like where she comes down and presents herself to some villagers in this random town.
In the chapel, right?
They start calling her, and her lieutenant calls her mother when he holds her. So there's that element as well. But yeah, so far very pleased, actually quite surprised. It's a really well made game so far. So that was my week. Shall we get into the LGBTIQ movies, Franco section?
Let's go. But shall we go with the news actually first? Sorry.
All right, let's start with the news first. Yeah, sure. Let's start with the news. So, this week we had, I think, 3 big trailers, which we can talk about really, really quickly. We're going to start off with, actually a trailer we have talked about, but we talked about the teaser trailer. Now we get a better idea of what kind of movie this is. I'm very hyped for this movie. I mean, it comes out I believe on the 30th of this month, so around 16 days time. It's a Netflix animated movie. So when we went through like the Netflix animated movies, we actually noticed that there are quite a few decent animated movies there to see. I love the protagonist. Protagonist is incredibly likable for me. I've seen some people on Twitter actually hate on the protagonist. I just love the protagonist. I love the voice acting. For her, she seems super likable.
Why do they hate her?
I really don't remember. I think it's because of her hair and she seems a bit too chirpy for some people. And obviously then there's the elements of, you were going to mention now, I think, Franco.
No, but there was also it's basically based on a graphic novel apparently as well. So maybe that's why.
Yes.
Sorry, this is not my car and arm, by the way. Yeah.
So yes, it's based on a graphic novel. I love
Speaking of Pride Month, there's also 2 LGBT characters, and I mean, there's obviously it's gonna
right on time.
Like, no, you cannot have gay characters. Fuck that shit. Enjoy it, guys. It seems something I watch as well.
Hopefully it's well put into the story, not just queer baiting kind of stuff we get in certain series on Netflix. Hopefully it's an important part of the story and fits well. But I'm loving the mixture of modern elements with like medieval elements as well. There's some nice creativity here. And I love the animation style. It's the animation style is what caught my attention, to be honest. It's different to what we've been seeing recently. So yeah, that's Nimona. I'm very much looking forward to that. Anything else, Franco?
No, that's it. I mean, it looks good. Like it gives us a better idea than the teaser did. The teaser,
Definitely.
The teaser at first most probably might have shocked the people, like what's happening, like with the crayon drawings and whatnot. But now we see where they're going for it. Yeah, it's another step in the right direction towards animation as well.
Yeah. Yep. Talking about animation, we've got another animated movie to talk about. And this time we've got Elio, which is the upcoming, which will be next year, I believe, 2024. Another Pixar movie. Obviously, we've got Elemental coming out this week in America, next week in Malta, I believe. 2024. Sci-fi Pixar movie. I think, what was the last sci-fi Pixar movie you got? Was it Soul? I guess Soul
Wall-E
could be considered. Wall-E.
More, bring us your leader.
Yeah. So, your thoughts, Franco, and then I'll give my thoughts.
No, this is the first time I'm seeing this.
All right, so I can talk first because I've watched it already.
Go for it.
And then you can talk after. I love the animation style. Again, this is obviously a very different animation style to the one we saw for Nimona. And this scene is beautiful. This is stunning. When I saw this, I paused it like I did. I was like, holy shit, this looks good. So I'm pleased to see this style coming in. This is usually Pixar style, but
Strange Planet. Last one was Strange Planet. It was sci-fi.
Yeah, Stranger Worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
Stranger Worlds, yes, which I watched and I was actually did quite enjoy that. But this is it's a different style to Stranger Worlds. Stranger Worlds was more on the colorful side, more fantastical. Here it's like more like true pure sci-fi. So this is a beautiful scene. Like everything about this is stunning. So obviously, I mean, it's Pixar. Even with the bad Pixar movies, or let's say the average Pixar movies, like, look at this is fucking stunning. Even the average Pixar movies, because I don't think there are actually any bad Pixar movies, look still really good. Obviously, now it'll be interesting to see where they take the story. The impression I have, it's going to be he has to answer for the crimes done by people on Earth. And it'll be interesting to see what themes they touch on here, how they explore the sci-fi elements of this movie. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think I'm looking forward to this much more than I am Elemental, to be honest.
The creature designers look really good as well.
Yes, this looks good.
Okay, bye. I love you. Okay,
what do you think, Franco?
Sorry, just again. I'm just enjoying the visuals at the moment right now. It's very, very colorful. I'm trying to understand what's the story. Okay.
So basically, Elio's mom received a call from space asking her, obviously, to send Earth's leader. Now, at the same time, her son calls her. Her son calls her, and somehow there's some kind of like whatever science thing happens. I have no idea what's going on. And they think that Elio, her son, is Earth's leader. So they summon him up into the Commuverse. That's what you can see in this scene. He gets called into the Commuverse, and he has to answer. So he meets the ambassadors of all the different alien species around the universe, from around the universe, and basically has to answer for people's crimes on Earth, basically. And he pretends to be the leader of Earth because he was going to be his memory was about to be wiped by that guy, by that alien. And that's basically what we got so far. So I think there is a lot of potential here, right? Of like interesting themes to be explored. Whether it's going to be about the environment, whether it's going to be about I don't know how dark they'll go, like going into like us creation of bombs and nuclear bombs or so on. I don't know if they're going to go on that element.
We'll see. Unless they're going to trivialize it or just Disney wash it, basically.
I doubt it. With Pixar, it's hard to Disneyfy Pixar.
Well, but we look. as we say, the proof is in the pudding.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Definitely. So that is Elio. Final trailer. Franco, have you watched The Witcher by any chance?
No, I haven't watched The Witcher. I've heard mixed reviews as well. Yeah, I saw the trailer though of season 3. With surprisingly, there's Henry Cavill in it. I thought there was
Henry
going
Cavill
to
is still
be.
in it.
I thought there was going to be Luke Hemsworth, Chris
No,
Hemsworth's
Luke Hemsworth
brother.
comes in next season, in season 4.
Okay.
Season 3 was already pretty much done when the news came out of Henry Cavill, like ending his relationship with the series.
Okay.
I've watched the series. I've played all the games. I've read the first 3 books. Now I'm going to start the 4th book soon. I love the Witcher world. It's a different style of fantasy to like Lord of the Rings, which again I adore. Different style of fantasy world to many of the like there's more of the author is Polish, and you can tell because even with the different monsters that he's to kill, basically Henry Cavill is Geralt of Rivia. He's a Witcher and he's a monster slayer. Basically, that's his kind of job. But obviously he gets involved in all the big adventures going on and all the big battles going on in the world. Like at the start, they focus a lot on the element of neutrality, right? Because Witchers are supposed to be neutral and they're not supposed to get involved in politics and so on. But obviously Geralt gets involved in every big political moment in the world.
In Maltese, we say bassa, basically.
It's not his doing, it's more he gets pulled in, like it's not his choice. Like he would prefer not to be involved in any of this, just to go about his life.
I'm being ironic, of course. Yeah.
So far, my thoughts on the first 2 seasons was mixed, like many of the reviews you've seen. I love Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is perfect.
That scene was that fire bending was kind of what's going on?
CGI has always been an issue. CGI has always been an issue with The Witcher series. Obviously, it's a budget issue. I think it's pretty much a budget issue.
But if I may, from a visual perspective, why didn't they do this? You know, I'm just saying, if budget is an issue, why don't you go close, like have a tighter shot there and just see like the fire in front of her, you know, and not make it more artistic. I mean, this because this reveals more of how cheap this CGI looks.
And I'm sure there's a practical way of showcasing this.
For sure.
I'm sure, 100%. If Christopher Nolan can explode nuclear bombs, like you can show a bit of fire. You can show a bit of fire.
Yeah. But I was already thinking, like, why didn't they go tighter as well? Because there's nothing. I mean, maybe because they wanted to frame her between the trees. But then again, there's nothing visually that interesting.
No, there isn't. And then that can be said for pretty much the whole series. The visual aspect of The Witcher is an issue. It's not well directed. The CGI is quite bad. Like even the monsters do not look good at all. Like now I'm going to talk about Transformers in the review section. It's night and day.
Okay.
Positives are obviously Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill has always like personified perfectly Geralt. You can tell this guy loves the books. This guy loves the games because he knows exactly who the kind of person Geralt is. Like perfect. He's the perfect Geralt. I really like Liam Hemsworth. Really has big shoes to fill in for season 4.
Sorry, not Luke, Liam.
Liam Hemsworth, yeah.
Liam.
So Geralt is perfect in this. And you know what has always also been a big issue I've had with the Witcher series? The costumes. The costumes are really bad. Like, look at this, man. Like, the costumes are really, really bad. Like, the armor in season 1. I remember there was this big meme, the scrotum armor, because there was a particular army who had armor, which looked like ball sacks. Pretty much like ball sacks. Like, it looked really bad. So I don't know what's going on with the costumes, but the majority of costumes look like the kind of stuff like this. This is a fantasy series. You can do better than this. I'm sorry. It looks like something you'd find in H&M. I don't know.
Okay.
Like we watch, like I was talking about the Queen Charlotte series, for example, the Bridgerton series, the costumes in that. Jesus Christ, man, they look so good. And then you get the really lazy costumes for The Witcher. So that's a big pet peeve I have for this series. But I'm going to say I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it, obviously, because I love The Witcher world. But we'll see. So that's The Witcher.
For you fantasy fans over there as well.
Summer Game Fest. I just wanted to mention a few games that caught my attention from Summer Game Fest so far, because right now we're, I think we're done with all of them. Yes, Capcom was yesterday as well, so we're pretty much done with all of them. So my attention was caught by the following games: Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Yeah,
where we saw.
This looks so good, man. I was also impressed. It's a great platformer. It harks back to the first games.
The first games, yes.
There's also that animation style. They are adopting this animation style. Even the character design, he looks.
Yes.
I have to say, he looks great. He looks handsome.
Mm-hmm.
Even the monsters look amazing.
Yes. So this definitely has my attention. I was a big Prince of Persia fan when I was young. I played all the games. So really looking forward to this. I am not a fan of Mortal Kombat. I watched the movie.
Movie and games, night and day. I'm sorry.
Yes. I've never played the games. This looks really good. Like looking at all the finishers. I forgot what they call them.
Fatalities.
The fatalities. Looking at all the fatalities. They look bloody great. Like like even just this.
Together. Yep. Sorry.
They look really good. So this is another game that caught my attention. Oh my God. What a moment to pause.
The gory details. So yeah, for anyone who's watching, take care. But we should say graphic content ahead, basically.
Graphic content ahead. So those games caught my attention. Some other games that caught my attention, because there were a few that I didn't watch. This I did not watch either. But then we had the Xbox Games Showcase, Cyberpunk DLC. Now I played through the whole of Cyberpunk 2077. I replayed it this year when I watched the series, the Cyberpunk series. No, last year. That was last year. I replayed it when I watched the Cyberpunk series. And you know, the game really improved. So the game really improved from like when it came out. Obviously, we talked about, I believe, last week, coincidentally, me and Joe. It had big issues, right? It had very big issues. But when I replayed it, it was a much more stable experience. And overall, like, the soundtrack is really good. The graphics really improved. So this new DLC, it's going to be a €30 DLC. Apparently, there's going to be upgrades to the whole game, basically, and there's going to be new quests to go on, which look really good. Now, the showcase that I enjoyed the most was the Xbox showcase, which I just found now, and these are all the games that were mentioned. Fable, I love Fable. I played the original, the third and the second one. I don't think I played the first one. I think I played the second and the third one, and I love them. I love the whole element of good character, bad character, your actions having kind of consequences and so on.
Richard Ayoade looks a bit peculiar in this one, but I mean his voice acting is good, but the rendering is kind of like, you know, especially.
I know there were some issues. Go ahead, Franco, and then I'll talk about.
No, remember when I linked you the video of the Unreal Engine of what was it? Something? What was the name? Not Azura's Threat. No, of. But you see, I forgot. We did mention it where her face was so well rendered. You know.
Yes, the game Joe played. Senua's something.
Yes, yeah.
And that the second game, oh my god, the trailer for the second game looks incredible.
Yes, so
there was a trailer there was another trailer for it in the Summerfest. It looks bloody great. It looks bloody great. They have facial animations. They focus on the facial animations again. Incredible stuff. There was some criticism, Franco, about this character, and the whole like controversy broke out on Twitter because there's the claim that game developers, under pressure from Anita Sarkeesian, are trying to create like ugly female characters on screen. They're no longer trying to make like beautiful looking female characters. The whole issue is stupid because Fable, you create the character, so you, the player, anyone can make their own character. So you can make the character as, obviously beauty is all in the eye of the beholder. All subjective.
Yeah.
So like I really didn't get the whole controversy which blew up about it. But yeah.
And this is the thing. If it's really all about beauty, like then why don't you put your own photo on Twitter?
And like the people who are criticizing I'm no person to judge, but let's just say they weren't going to be modeling for any big company very soon. Let's put it that way.
Cloud chasers. There was also
Franco. This looks good. Good.
Alan Wake 2 as well. There was Alan Wake 2.
There was Alan Wake 2. I haven't played the first Alan Wake, so I.
Oh my god!
This game looks really good. There was gameplay then in the Ubisoft showcase, which was the day after this. The gameplay looks really good as well. It's going to be an open world game focused around this outlaw character. You basically explore, go on like this big adventure, apparently commit crimes and so on and so forth. So there's it's a very interesting open world game. Very much looking forward to this. I think this can really, like what the Star Wars game so far, thumbs up so far. Really good game so far.
The lighting in this game looks amazing. At least the cinematics that I'm seeing.
I think lighting is going to be very important, and they focus a lot on this because it's probably going to have lots of elements of stealth, lots of stealth elements to it. So probably lighting is going to be important in those elements.
But the cantina scene looks great.
Yes, that's true. So there was this Star Wars Outlaws. Apart from that, this doesn't look very good. I didn't really like what we got to see from here. I think I'm over the whole payday games and so on. I don't know.
I have no idea.
This looks interesting. Avowed. I'm going to be honest. The creators are Obsidian Entertainment. They create very, very good games. It looks a little old though, like even the animations and the graphics and the art style looks a little old. But Obsidian Entertainment make fucking brilliant games, so I don't know. We'll see, to be honest. But it does look a little old, right? Even the gameplay looks a little oldish. But yeah, we'll see about that. Well,
Okay.
That's about
Mikey Island.
there we go. Senua Saga, Hellblade 2. This was a trailer. Listen to it then after, Franco. Even the sound design is, oh my god, so good.
When you hear the hair psychosis going on.
Yeah.
Oh
this
my
looks
God.
great. I downloaded the first game actually because it's on Xbox Game Pass for PC, so I can get it for free. I pay €6 every month, but I get it for free. So that's Senua Saga of Hellblade 2. We've talked about this. Overwatch. Oh, Overwatch. I just wanted to mention this really quickly. You know how like a couple of weeks ago they had said there's not going to be any PvE? There is going to be PvE now, but you have to pay for it. You have to pay €15 to play for it, and it's co-op.
Pay one.
So, the usual. And obviously, last thing I want to talk about from the whole Xbox showcase, like there's nothing else. Cyberpunk,
Starfield,
which we
there
talked
was
about,
Starfield as well.
is obviously Starfield, exactly.
And
So,
Clockwork Revolution really caught my attention as well. It looks, I have to admit, it looks a bit of a Bioshock ripoff. But let's hope it holds its own as well.
So let's talk about that first, and then I'll talk about Starfield. Where was it?
There you go.
So I you remember I messaged you. I messaged the chat. I sent a message on chat. I was like, "Oh my god, BioShock Infinite 2!"
Yeah.
Like I was like certain this was going to be. I didn't see who the creators were, so I had no idea. But I paid attention from here on onwards. I'm like, this is BioShock Infinite. This is definitely BioShock Infinite 2. Because the art style, the design of the world, everything looks like BioShock Infinite, right? Even the name of the characters and so on looks exactly like something. Even like everything looks like BioShock Infinite. What do you think, Franco? I don't know. I'm interested.
No, I'm interested too. I should get my my pause on BioShock and its lore, because it seems such a worthwhile game as well. Even the politics of it all as well.
Yes, politics is interesting.
Yeah, are we not entitled to the sweat of our brow and some goods, you know?
Yes. I love BioShock Infinite. Is one of my all-time favorite games. But
this is first person.
Yes, this is first person, just like BioShock Infinite.
Unfortunately, I'm not that much of a fan of first person. Like even Dishonored, the problem I had was that it was first person. Otherwise, it's a great game, but I prefer third person a lot. I'm sorry. And like platformers as well. So there, yeah.
So that is Clockwork Revolution, last game. Obviously, we have to talk about this. We cannot not talk about it. Starfield. Starfield, which is Bethesda's next big game. First impressions, very positive. The gameplay they showcased as well looks great. Graphically, it looks a solid game. I mean, you never get into a Bethesda game expecting like superb, supremely beautiful graphics, but it looks creative. But my issues with this game are two. One issue is not going to affect me because I play on PC, which is the fact that on console, this game is going to be stuck to 30 frames per second, which in 2023 is for me a big no-no. You cannot have a game stuck at 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
Like fucking hell, man. We get big games like Cyberpunk 2077 at least 60 frames per second. Like how can a game console like the Xbox not have more than 30 frames per second? This is clearly an issue with the Bethesda engine, but that's one issue. That's not going to affect me because on PC, the sky is the limit. Second issue is the gunplay. The gunplay looks slow, looks boring. I know Bethesda games are never about like combat, more about the RPG elements, and fine, but the gunplay does not look interesting, let's put it that way. But those are the negatives. Positives, interaction with characters seems very good. World seems very creative. The city is packed with people, packed with things to do. I'm 100% certain. So the exploration looks great. Exploring different worlds is going to be super fun. I hope that the different worlds you explore are not as barren as they seem to be. That's something that worries me a little bit. Because after a while, how many barren worlds are you going to explore, as beautiful as they may be? It's going to get tedious and boring. So we'll see. Hopefully the storyline behind it and those different stories you pick up around the world, the different worlds and the different characters you meet are interesting. We'll see. Franco, I don't know if you want to say anything about Starfield.
No, okay. So they're going back to the Skyrim, like you can go first person and third person, it seems like.
Yes, first person and third person, exactly. Exactly.
Skyrim in space?
Skyrim in space. No, it's not Skyrim in space. I think they specified quite a few times that it's not Skyrim in space.
Skyrim in space.
It's much more than Skyrim in space.
Wait, so if they said it's not Skyrim in space, how many times did they say it? Because if they said it 3 times, it means it is Skyrim in space. Basically.
It is Skyrim in space. No, I actually think it is Skyrim in space. But yeah, we'll see about that. So those were all the games pretty much that caught my attention during Summer Game Fest. Really quickly, just going to mention the box office this week. Transformers Rise of the Beast, which I'll be reviewing very soon, did well. Apparently, it opened with a $61 million the domestic box office, getting, I think, even 40 million in China. So that's also very good. Worldwide, I think they made like 116, which is a very good start, considering Bumblebee made, I think, a third of that. So very good start for Transformers Rise of the Beast. especially considering that there is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is breaking like all expectations. So that is, and obviously it'll be interesting now. Next week we'll talk about it when The Flash comes out and see kind of like how the box office weighs out next week with The Flash coming out. We've got Elemental coming out in America, so lots of big movies coming out in a few weeks. So that's just a really quick comment about the box office. Now, Franco, let's talk about this. We got some news. You sent it to me about the different changes, the calendar years for Disney. Let's get straight into it. We'll start off with the Star Wars movies. We've got... Actually, let's see how this starts. So let's start off with Marvel. So on the Marvel Studios front, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty has been pushed a year to May 1st. I think we all know why. 2026. We all know why that has been pushed. Obviously, Jonathan Majors. Follow-up, Avengers: Secret Wars has also been pushed a year to May 7, 2027. Now, my question, Franco, is, are people still going to be interested about this storyline 3 to 4 years time?
I know I'm saying this reluctantly. Yes, they will be. I mean, people still went and watched Ant-Man and the Wasp in Quantum Mania. Oh. And secondly, yeah, you are right when you showed us the posters, how lazy they look. The posters, very lazy and like same. They look almost all the same, almost same poses. Nothing.
And all the characters have nothing like with the original Avengers. Every character had their own like character elements.
Oh, of course,
everyone has their issues. You could say 3, 4, 5 things about each one of those characters. Looking at the new Avengers, like everyone's the same basically, which is weird to say because this is the most diverse cast of characters we've ever had. But diversity is not enough. You actually need to give them a character, like something, like they all look different, but when you go to describe them, like, what are you going to say about them?
Okay, if we can put the poster on the poster on the
poster, yeah.
But for the listeners, basically the posters have a blue galaxy background, and then there's just the characters like Shang-Chi, Marvel, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man posing in front of it, and the problem is even Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, they're not. They're almost one part of the background.
Yep. And my issue, rather than the poster itself, because I mean, fuck, they make a bad poster. But my big issue is the characters have they're not interesting. Like, I'm not excited to hear what's next for Captain Marvel, or I'm not excited to hear what's next for... I mean, maybe Shang-Chi was good, so there's that. Here we go, I found it. So, screen, Facebook, share. There we go. So, I'm not... Actually, it looks better like this. I'm not looking forward to see what's next for Ant-Man. I'm not excited to hear what's next for The Wasp, the new Black Panther, new Captain America, Spider-Man. I'm over that. Like, War Machine and Captain Marvel.
No, like, but do you know, like, even the title? I cannot see when you see the title, like, here, yeah, everything is blue. I was like, what is this? Like the Democratic National Convention? Like, and all red and blue, the green as well. And secondly, now I see, I told you in chat before we started recording this, I told you in chat, now I understand why Martin Scorsese said, this is all a theme park. I mean, because you have to consider these actors, they are going to be locked in these characters for so long. They're gonna have their careers stunted. Tom Holland, for example, which we're gonna speak later on. I mean, Simu Liu, at least he's going to have Barbie in it. Barbie coming up. I mean, and what's that's Dom Cheadle. Dom Cheadle is a
War Machine, yeah.
Dom Cheadle is a capable actor.
Fantastic actor, very good actor. But he's stuck in this role. He's stuck in this role, unfortunately. I don't know why he's stuck in this role.
I mean, and I now understand what he meant by theme park. Actually, I would build on Martin Scorsese's take. that this is like you when you go to Disney and you have to you're an employee at Disney and your job is to be the princess or the prince or the warrior, and you have to wear the same dress every day for 3 months straight. Can you imagine how limiting that is?
Even Brie Larson, fantastic actress, but
Yeah,
she's stuck
of course.
in this and fucking Fast X. Oh, Jesus, man.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, it's too much franchises. As you didn't agree with me, but even one of the movies coming out is another Alien. Like
Yeah,
Jesus
so we
Christ,
can move on to that actually,
like
since you mentioned it.
let this IP rest. Is it possible? Like we've seen,
Next Alien movie.
like I mentioned BioShock. I think now we have the resources to create a BioShock movie.
They
a
are
well-made
creating
one.
a BioShock movie, I think. They are. It is in the work. It is in the productions, I
So
think.
Touchwood would be on the same level of Last of Us as far as story goes, and that's one thing.
So, Franco, since you mentioned Alien, let me just mention this really quickly. Because 20th Century has added another installment in the Alien franchise dated for August 16, 2024. And the reason why I'm excited for it is because of the filmmaker, Fede Alvarez, who's a very good horror director. That excites me, I'm going to be honest, which stars Kaylee Spaney. And the studio has also added Rami Malek thriller The Amateur to November 8th, 2024. Go ahead, Franco, continue.
No, Fede Alvarez. Still have to watch the Evil Dead remake. To be honest, yeah, that's the maybe the saving grace. But again, I'm genuinely like, even we already mentioned Moana. Why the hell we needed a Moana
Oh my
live
God,
action?
Moana. Moana. Listen, I liked the animated movie. Don't get me wrong. The animated movie was delightful. But
No.
what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. The point. I'm not worried about like the original movie. I haven't watched, but I know it was great. But Jesus Christ, please! There's so many stories to be told, and we're still digging the same grave. Even Star Wars now. I'm give me another Andor, please. Give me another Andor, please. It's I don't know, is it possible that there's no fatigue? But then again, I said, like, I'm if people watched Quantum Mania, a shit movie like Quantum Mania, I think they're still gonna watch the next Marvel. But honestly, I'm going to take the radical approach. It has to stop. It's
But
it's
then,
unfair.
Franco, then you get something like Across the Spider-Verse, which was a fantastic movie. And you're like, what's superhero fatigue? Like, if you get something of that kind of quality, that's brilliant. That's great.
Yes, you saw the difference between something bland as the top, apologies to Tom Holland, something as bland as Tom Holland Spider-Man to that, and you are excited. Oh, at least they should invest more on the animation side. If you're telling me that,
It's Sony. Sony has been doing really well. I mean, forget the obvious.
Morbius.
Forget Morbius.
We'll see with Craven the Hunter as well.
I've heard it's really bad. I heard from an actress who is kind of involved in the whole thing. She has a podcast. It's apparently it's really bad. It's really, really bad. It's like on Morbius level bad. But we'll see.
No,
we'll see.
I'm sorry, but this is another. I think this is a. Yeah, I'm going political in here. This is a great example of companies becoming greedy. I had this conversation this morning. Companies are becoming greedy, and the quality we get of everything, not just movies, even other commodities, we're going to have to pay the price. We're paying more for less. And I'm sorry, there's so many stories to be told. Like, I'm reading, even multi stories, and it's like, I'm assuming. Don't quote me on this. Even when I spoke to Simulio and I told him, are you doing a Marvel movie? And here he told me no, but it's a great movie. So it's like for a second there I felt that he wants to, explore. I feel even for the directors. I mean, if it's a good check at the end of the day, go for it. It's get that bag. But come on, 2027, and we're still gonna watch fucking Marvel. And we saw Nimona. Nimona's great, and then we have Oppenheimer, and then we have this is like this is I'm going to call it the Wes Andersonization of Marvel. Because it's that's what it is, just get a group of cast, a great roster, and then just whatever.
Last thing to mention here are the Star Wars movies. So on Tuesday, Lucasfilm moved the previously dated Star Wars movie from December 2025 to May 22nd, 2026. We don't know what that is. There is the Daisy Ridley movie, which is furthest along in development, is likely to open up. Oh, that will be the Daisy Ridley movie. Curiously, Lucasfilm revealed in Tuesday's announcement that it has added a new Star Wars feature for just 5 months later. Again, we don't know what that is. December 18, 2026. And another Star Wars movie is staying on its current date of December 17, 2027. So we're getting we haven't had a Star Wars movie since 2019. And we're getting 3 movies in 2 years, which is a little worrying.
Once again, Daisy Ridley. I mean, not. This is not on her, but we've seen the backlash she got just for being a woman. Let's be honest. And you're gonna double down on making her life even more limiting. I'm sure Daisy Ridley has more. How should I say? Has more in her bag, Anyway,
she's a talented actress. And she's very charismatic on screen. So
I was gonna say this DC, maybe DC will prove a good alternative.
Let's see with the Flash. See with the Flash, because speaking of DC, next up we have to talk about Ezra Miller. Now let me start this off by saying that I've seen some clips of the Flash, and they look really bad. They look really, really bad. The CGI looks awful. I hope it's been improved for the movie, but first impressions are not very good.
I have to be bearer of bad news. Chris Tuckman said that while the movie is enjoyable, the CGI had something left to be desired, basically.
Yeah. But the positive side of that is that apparently, because I was reading about this on Twitter, the people who are working on the CGI apparently reported that there was no pressure on them. They worked calmly, and they had a good work environment working on the Flash. They had years to work on the CGI. So on that element, props to DC and Warner Brothers for not creating this toxic work environment where you have to work 23 out of 24 hours of a day. They work normal work hours, and they finished months before the movie is coming out now. So on that element, positive. Negative is the CGI still does not look great, because at the end of the day, a good workplace does not mean a good product, which is sad to say. Sometimes, and I hate saying this, I hate myself for saying this, but sometimes the most toxic of work environments create beautiful art, which is, I hate myself for saying it, but unfortunately it's a reality.
But I think we should start moving away from that.
100%.
But who has the last word, and who calls the shots again when the CGI is good? If the director said it's fine. But I'm totally against toxic work environments. And again,
100%.
With this, like I mentioned before, with this atmosphere of greed and just profiting and people not getting their value back. Yeah, I mean, what's the point of having good CGI if the guy who worked the guy or woman or whoever or the MP who worked behind those CGIs not getting their work's worth of pay,
Yep. Yep. So Ezra Miller made his first appearance.
Their first appearance, please.
It's their first. I always forget. Ezra Miller made their first appearance, first public appearance. Apparently, the DC film's premiere was on Monday. Yeah. I saw some videos as well of them. I'm gonna be honest. They don't look. Oh, it sounds really weird saying it, but they don't look great. Let me just put it that way. But he had words of praise for director Andy Muschietti, who apparently everyone loves, and apparently Andy Muschietti is going to be working on the next Batman movie. In this world, kind of, he's being tied up to work on that. So. Obviously, last year they cited complex mental health issues and a blanket apology for past behavior, which included trespassing and choking a woman in Iceland in an incident caught on video, amongst other things. Lots of stuff there going on. But he made his first appearance. Praised Andy Muschietti. Praised also and thanked Peter Safran and James Gunn for your grace and discernment and care in the context of my life and in bringing this moment actually to a fruition. So yeah, first appearance for Ezra Miller. I don't know what their future is in the DC universe. I personally would not agree if Ezra Miller remained as the Flash after all the stuff that's gone on. Nothing to do with him with them as a person, but like they've done a lot of shit and they've done a lot of public shit. I don't think Ezra Miller should continue as the Flash. Get this movie over and done with and end it there, in my opinion. I don't know what you think, Franco.
They need to go out of the spotlight. If they really want to grow and learn from their mistakes, please leave the spotlight to someone else, please. That's all. I mean, let's hope they get better. Let's hope they realize the gravity of their mistakes. But try to, leave the spotlight for a while and get better. That's all I hope. At the end of the day, yes, we are very hard on this kind of stuff, on abuse and whatnot. But if the person who perpetrates this kind of stuff realizes the gravity of the mistake, may they grow, may they learn from their mistakes, but don't push it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. All right, so that is Ezra Miller's The Flash. I'm looking forward to go watch it on Friday. I think I'll go watch it on Friday.
It's this Friday.
Friday comes out. Yeah.
Okay.
So probably I'll go watch it after work.
I was planning to go watch Spider-Verse this Sunday.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's
enjoy it. It's so good.
All right.
You're gonna love it.
Nice.
Moving on. One assault to another.
Sorry.
This time.
I also forgot to mention. I'll mention it later. Sorry. So back to the.
From one assault to another, this time, unfortunately, sexual assault. Black Panther 2 actor Tenoch Huerta, who was Namor in Black Panther 2, was accused of sexual assault. The Marvel star called public allegations by the musician and activist Maria Elena Rios false and unsubstantiated. Apparently, Maria Elena Rios is very, very famous in Mexico. But anyways, what's the whole story? So, in a statement sent to Variety and published on his Instagram, the Mexican actor, best known obviously as the indigenous superhero rival Namor in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, called Rios claims false and unsubstantiated, saying, "I cannot let it go unchallenged any longer. About a year ago, I dated Elena for several months. Huerta said it was entirely consensual at all times, as countless others can attest, and throughout it was a loving, warm, and mutually supportive relationship. After it ended, however, Elena began to misrepresent our interactions, both privately and in front of groups of mutual friends. Although I am by no means perfect, I know that these allegations are simply untrue, and while I will always work to improve myself, I need to contest claims that are both false and offensive." So, Rios is a professional saxophonist, accused Huerta of sexual assault in several tweets in recent days. in which she referred to him as a sexual predator. She has also become an anti-femicide activist after being permanently maimed in 2019 in a 2019 acid attack organized by her ex-boyfriend and influential politician in Mexico. So no news, obviously, about whether Namor will appear or not in future Black Panther films. So, spoiler, he does not die at the end of the movie, so he could make another appearance. I know there were some ideas of maybe potentially making a separate Namor movie. Obviously, those will come to a halt for now as they find out, the reality of the whole thing. But something different to the whole Jonathan Majors issue is that there's no court case so far. These are just Twitter allegations, and that's it. So it's just a public court of opinion, basically, which decides right now. I don't know. It's hard to comment because we don't really know what happened, right, Franco?
Yep, and basically same shit, different actor.
Yeah,
that's all.
Same shit, different actor. Yep, unfortunately, I hate talking about this stuff, especially when we obviously we don't know the whole story. Obviously we have to mention it because it's something that affects movies, right? And it's an important actor here, an actor in a major Disney movie, a major Marvel movie.
And we've also said our what we think in previous episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll wait and see.
Exactly. So that is the story on Black Panther to actor Tenoch Huerta. To conclude, and this will be a very good segue to the review section, we have to talk a little bit about Tom Holland. So Tom Holland is starring in Apple TV's latest big series, The Crowded Room, which I'll talk about in a bit. But it's interesting to see Tom Holland kind of taking a year off from acting. He claims that the role kind of did break him, right? So we can go into the whole story. Tom Holland says he's taken a year off from acting to look after his mental health after having a tough time and a bit of a meltdown while working on his latest project. I'm no stranger to hard work. He said, I've lived by the idea that hard work is good work. Then again, the show did break me. There did come a time where I needed a break and disappeared and went to Mexico for a week and had time on the beach and laid low. I'm now taking a year off, and that is a result of how difficult the show was. I'm excited to see how it turns out. I feel like our hard work wasn't in vain. It wasn't a tough time for sure. We were exploring certain emotions that I have definitely never experienced before, and then on top of that, being a producer, dealing with the day-to-day problems that come with any film set, just added that extra level of pressure. Franco, your thoughts on this, first of all, and then we can probably get into the whole series.
Yeah, I understand the pressure with being a producer, actor, and writer, and filming. So I understand this. I'm not thinking of watching The Crowded Room because the whole trailer spoiled it for me. The spoiler alert. It's in the title as well, and also when they say yes, from the writer of Beautiful Mind. Guys, I mean,
that ruins the whole story, basically.
Exactly. There's no mystery in it. Yeah, I didn't even know he was in Billy Elliot.
Yes. That's his big break, no?
Yeah, Billy Elliot, and he was also in Hereafter, I think, or what? There was one movie about the tsunami in.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I wish what I was thinking. I wish he has the career trajectory of Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
Again, tying it back to the Marvel issues. Robert Pattinson was known to be the vampire of the Twilight series, but he managed to remove that mantle and basically establish himself as a veritable tour de force of an actor. I wish Tom Holland the same, basically. I mean, again, him being miscast as Nathan Drake is none of his fault. That comes from the studio. Him being cast as Spider-Man, it's a great opportunity. But again, I wish they give these characters growth, like you said. Give these characters. Before we see them as superheroes, we see them as characters. That's one thing.
Agreed. So that's the big issue. That's the big issue with even
And
with Spider-Man, the three Spider-Man movies. They are not bad movies, don't get me wrong. But
no, but
we see very little character development, and like I don't know. I didn't
And,
mind them. I didn't mind them at all. Don't get me wrong. The
and
Fury.
Tom Holland, not that he didn't try. There was the devil all the time. There's this,
Yes.
the crowded room. And there was Cherry as well. I haven't watched Cherry. I think obviously missteps happen. It's a normal part of making movies. The crowded room, is it a misstep or is it not? You'll have to tell us,
So-
Andrea. But
Great
no,
segue.
but I was gonna say he is. I understand the pressure that he's trying to expand his range, especially with this character. And you can tell
Definitely.
us more.
So, but before we get into the reviews, guys, let us know in the comment section below any news articles we missed out on, anything that caught your interest from the news we talked about, any of the games from the Summer's Game Fest that you like. Are you looking forward to the Moana live action remake? We are so excited for that. Let us know in the comment section below. Also, as always, don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it so far. And if you haven't, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to all our socials, the Twitter, there's Facebook, there's TikTok, which I haven't touched in ages.
Tinder, Bumble, all of the dating apps. Yeah.
Yeah, loads there. Now, the crowded room. So Tom Holland took a big shot with this. He's producing it, like he said. Here are my thoughts. I neither agree with the critics, nor do I agree with the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm pretty much right down the middle. So let's start off with what it's about. In Manhattan, in the summer of 1979, a young man is arrested for a shocking crime, and an unlikely investigator must solve the mystery behind it before the true criminal strikes again. So far, Apple TV have released 3 episodes of The Crowded Room. Tomorrow will be episode... tomorrow, yes, tomorrow's Friday. So the day after tomorrow, they will release the next episode. So far, I can only comment about the first 3 episodes. Obviously, I'll keep talking about it as the episodes keep on coming out. So 10 episodes in total for this limited series. And that is my big issue with this whole thing. In 3 episodes, the story has not developed that much. It's a very, very, very slow burn. I love slow burns. That's why I love Andor. I really love slow burns. So don't get me wrong. I'm not the kind of guy who needs full-blown action throughout. But even if it's a slow burn, stuff needs to happen, right? And unfortunately, so far, what we've gotten in the first 3 episodes were, seeing Tom Holland's character, his name is Danny Sullivan, seeing Danny Sullivan grow, but not really develop, because growing and developing are 2 different things. Like as a character, Danny Sullivan hasn't really changed that much. So nothing much has happened really in the first 3 episodes. There are hints, and it's quite obvious what the whole situation is. It's very obvious, right? That this is all playing out in his head, and he created this hypothetical situation in his head to stop him from thinking about all the trauma. It's kind of like his mind trying to protect him from all the trauma that he's been through. So he created all these like invented characters in his head, and all these invented to protect him from the trauma he's been through and the horrible stuff he's done. That's quite obvious that that's how it's going to be. However, so far in the first 3 episodes, I need more to keep me hooked, right? Now, I'm watching it for a number of reasons. Number one, because most of the performances are very good. Tom Holland is great as a lead. You can tell he's put his heart and soul into it. So that's a very good positive element about it. Also, very, very, very good is Amanda Seyfried. I don't know if it's Seyfried. I don't know how to pronounce her surname, but Amanda Seyfried is very good as the kind of like the investigator, asking him questions. trying to find out what was going on in his life before the shooting took place. So overall, there seems to be good chemistry between them as well. You can, it's two good actors working off each other very well. Visually, it's not great looking. Some of the lighting, I'm pretty sure that it's a deliberate decision. Some of the lighting doesn't work for me. It's very dark. I know they're setting the mood, the whole. It's definitely not a happy series. Let's put it that way. Lots of very serious issues being talked about here. Lots of trauma, sexual assault, rape. So it's big, terrible stuff to being exposed in the series. But still, sometimes the lighting is a bit too dark for my liking. Camera angles are sometimes a little off, in my opinion. So there's that element. I'm not hooked. I'm interested. I told that to my girlfriend, in fact, when I watched the second and third episode. I'm not completely hooked, but I am interested. I can see where this is going. And it'll be interesting to see how that develops and goes on. So far, if I had to give the first the episodes a rating, which is hard, I would not give it more than a 3 out of 5. I'm between a 2.5 and a 3 out of 5. And it's not awful. It's not bad. It's not great either. Will be interesting to see how it develops later on. Those are my thoughts so far. I'll keep our viewers and listeners updated throughout the weeks as I continue watching the series. Generally, Apple TV make good stuff, which is why I was interested in this in the first place. Well, I try to watch as many Apple TV series as possible. I also need to update myself on Silo, by the way. Okay, so those are my thoughts on The Crowded Room. Next up, Franco. This week you watched Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Your thoughts?
Mela. Yes, so I also watched, by the way, The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I've never watched that by
really?
Lantimos. Yes.
Should have sent me.
I know, and I forgot to mention it in the beginning, but maybe for next week I'll say what I thought about it. Yes, but Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. That's the movie I'm going to talk about. That's the movie I watched. I watched it with my brother. He had an interesting take. He didn't like the resolution of it all. Otherwise, it's a very sweet movie. It's a very mature movie, especially when dealing with a girl basically on the cusp of womanhood. She's starting her teenagers, and it follows basically 11-year-old Margaret, who's moving from New York to New Jersey, and she's navigating new friends, feelings, and the beginning of adolescence. What the synopsis doesn't mention is she's also dealing with the idea of fate as well. Now, her parents are Jewish and Christian. There's a great backstory over there. It's funny. I have to say that the character of Beni Safdie doesn't have much to work with, but he's very naturalistic. Beni Safdie is a good actor as well. I remember watching him in Licorice Pizza. Licorice Pizza was also good at it. Beni Safdie not only is a good director, but he has a sense of acting as well. Is that Rachel McAdams, if I'm not mistaken, the mother?
Yes, Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams is great as the mother. I really liked her style as well. This movie, the production design is so good. It's so detail perfect. Like I was impressed. Yeah, because this movie is based in the early 70s, I think. I think so, yeah, early 70s, because some of the 60s fashion was starting to transition basically, and yeah, it's a very sweet movie, very mature. I wish if you have a movie that you want to watch with your daughter, since Father's Day is coming, this would be a good movie for you as well. And yeah, it's the rating on IMDb is good, 7.6 over 10. Nothing much to there was a problem, and I want to see if it was just me. That some of the shots did not match in the color temperature. I don't know if people will notice, but it was really annoying me at like the color temperature was different. So in some instances it was yellow. In some instances it was towards the blue. And I don't know, maybe it was the television or if it's in the movie as well. But yeah, even the way it deals with the themes of religion, it doesn't take a radical stand or being atheists. In fact, since the parents are not as religious, they don't take her to the temple, neither to church, and she just so they let her explore on her own as well.
Nice.
And
Good to hear.
it's funny. There's some very funny moments as well. Again, there nothing much to, I'm not gonna it's something you usually I shit on some stuff, but there's nothing to shit on this movie. It's just a very sweet movie.
Nice. All right. It has my interest now. I always enjoy these movies which kind of like take a very, I'm gonna put not neutral, but like it's not like the director or the creator is not trying to impose their ideas or opinions or beliefs or faith on the viewer.
No, not at all. It's a very, I think it's a very female-centric movie. They even the 11-year-old actress Abby Ryder Fortson, she can hold her own. And there was a scene where the families of both the mother and the father have a conflict, and she's the one that actually stops it, and it also helps her mother to come also like to start setting her boundaries with other people in the community in New Jersey.
All right, interesting.
Yep.
So that
recommend it. 7.6 over 10 is a good rating.
Nice.
Rotten Tomatoes put it on 90%. I would put it on 85%. But
obviously, like remember, Franco, that's the amount of critics kind of liked it, right? So it's not exactly. Like so.
No.
Probably you'd still be one of those 84% if it was counting your.
Yeah. Yes. Even raw audience rating is very high. This movie as I said, it's a sweet movie, highly recommended, especially for not just for daughters, even for sons as well. Especially if they're finding a bit they're trying to understand faith, especially in our country, when you're pushed out of your mother's womb, you're Catholic, you have no say in it.
Indeed.
They should. I wish they showed this movie in our schools.
They're not going to show this movie in our schools.
No,
I can assure you. So is that it, Franco?
That's it. And let's not forget, I think we should do the LGBTQ movie rundown after Transformers.
Yes, definitely. So, are there goddess be Margaret? And finally, I really have not much to say about this movie. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. So Bumblebee was set during the 70s or 80s? 80s? Was it 80s? I think it was 80s, yeah. This is set during the 90s, 1994 to be specific. And during the 90s, a new faction of Transformers, the Maximals, joined the Autobots as allies in the battle for Earth. First of all, I have to say, the CGI in this is fucking great. CGI is really good. Really good CGI in Bumblebee was very good. Here, obviously, there's much more CGI because obviously we have much more Transformers. Now, this review is coming from someone who never cared about Transformers, never had any of the toys, the Hasbro toys or whatnot. I don't care about any of the lore, so if anyone here watching or listening to this is crazy about the lore, forgive me, I'm going to fuck up every name of every Transformer. But as someone who gives their opinion about movies, I thought this was an okay movie. Not great, not awful, not bad. It was decent. Like I said, the CGI is bloody great. CGI feels really punchy. The punches and the action feels real, unlike many of the movies I've watched recently. It's like you're almost like, oh my God, that's an actual Transformer punching the Maximal, for example. The voice acting is really good, really, really, really good. I was so surprised that the voice actor for Mirage was, oh my God, where's Mirage? Where's Mirage?
Michelle Yeoh, no?
No,
then she was
for
Razor.
Mirage. How is Mirage not in the top? Oh my God, one of the most important characters.
Let's find quickly who Mirage was. Mirage, Rise of the Beasts.
So, no, not Apex Legends, the movie.
Rise of the Beasts. Pete Davidson.
This was Pete Davidson. Was Pete Davidson. Very, 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 very good voice acting by Pete Davidson in this. There were moments where I was like, but he never overdoes it, which is great, which is props to his voice acting, because there were some lines he had which were a little quite cringy, let's put it that way. But overall, very likable character, and his voice acting was very good in this, very, very good. So I really liked the voice acting for Mirage. I was actually quite surprised. Very good performance. I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything before. Anthony Ramos as the lead was actually very good.
In the Heights?
In the Heights, which I did not watch, no. Hamilton I did watch. I don't remember him in this. A Star is Born, which obviously I watched, and I do not remember him in that. But a very good performance, very solid performance, very likable character. And I'm very happy to see that he'll probably be starring in other Transformers movies. Listen, there's always the big issue of, do we really need humans, the human story in a Transformers movie? No, we don't. But if you're going to give me a human movie, at least give me a good, likable character like the one Anthony Ramos had. His story is, for what it's worth, okay. My big issue with the Transformers Rise of the Beast movie as a movie was we get very little character development from the Transformers themselves. So from Optimus Prime gets some attention, could have done with much more. Mirage was very good, and I liked the character development between Mirage and Anthony Ramos' character, who was Noah Diaz. But apart from that, we barely get to see Bumblebee in this movie, which I understand we had a whole movie about Bumblebee, so actually we really didn't need it. But I love Bumblebee as a character, so I missed that. But for a movie called Rise of the Beasts, you would think that the Maximals, the whole movie is about the Maximals, right? No, that's not true. The Maximals barely appear. Like the majority of the Maximals appear in the last fight. There was like this big fucking rhino, I don't know what it's called, but doesn't get one single line. Just not one line. So the big hype was about the Maximals and these new Transformers. The only Maximal that gets some attention is Optimus Primal, who got his name from Optimus Prime. But not much character development going on there either. It's like nothing, he's there, and that's it. So that made, I'm sure a lot of big fans of Transformers would be really upset about that. Now, I went into this knowing nothing, right? I went into this knowing nothing except for the title. I knew there were going to be Maximals in it, which I had no idea what they were. But I saw this big primate. Franco.
By any chance, do you remember Beast Wars back in the day? No, you don't remember Beast Wars, because I didn't know they were part of in the Transformers universe. But basically, there was this series back in the day, in the 1990s, with very cheap graphic effects, called Beast Wars. If people remember the program, the kids program on Rai called Solletico. It was part of their roster, Beast Wars and Reboot.
No, I don't remember.
Solletico. Do you remember Solletico though? No,
Nope.
okay. So yeah, this is boomer talk basically. But yeah, that's what the Maximals, who the Maximals were. So this is mostly, I think it's mostly aimed to us boomers as well, who remember those those cartoons back in the day. No, otherwise then it's a good. I'll watch it with my father maybe when it's online.
It's worth to watch. That it's just worth to watch for the CGI alone. The CGI is really good. I'm like really impressed. And I forgot to mention something very important. This is very important. The action is very well shot. There is one take shot with an action scene where all the Maximals come in. Really impressive. Like coming from the Michael Bay movies, where I had absolutely no idea. Every scene has to be cut 50 times. And then clusterfuck of here, everything is clear. Now, the Transformers CGI, the Michael Bay Transformers CGI was very good. Let's get that clear. So that was very, very good CGI. But it was edited so horrible, not horribly, but there was too much editing going on, too many cuts. So you can never really tell what was going on. Here, the action is very clear and you can tell exactly what's going on. So no issues on that account. Very good action, very, very good action. Action is probably the best part about this. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Dominic Fishback, I forgot to mention, is okay. She doesn't really need to be there. She just kind of like leads them from one plot point to another, one MacGuffin to another. And she's always there like, oh, look, I worked out the translation. Oh, yes, I have the spot now. This spot is important. Like, oh, wait, I know where that is. Follow me. We're going to Peru. And she's always like the MacGuffin in this. She's always like working out what next MacGuffin they need. So
not MacGuffin, Google Maps most probably. Dominic Fishback is in Swarm, right? Because that's another series I'm interested about.
Yes. She's in Swarm. She doesn't have much to work with here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts on Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Franco, I was thinking, shall we do the LGBTIQ movies next week? Because I'm very hungry.
No, we can do a quick rundown. Well, next week, it's the end of, it's still June, right? Next week.
Yeah, next week will be 19th if it was on Monday or 20th on Tuesday. So
and maybe, but
and I'll give it some more thought as well. True. It
was a bit short notice as well, guys. We haven't forgotten you. I think it's a good episode to end the month of June with as well. Some great movies we've watched with LGBTQ issues.
Definitely.
Not LGBTQ as in issues in the sense, not problems, issues. We're cancelled. That's it.
No. But I mean, the movies do focus on issues like problems would have come out with.
Blue. I was before I had to go to hospital. I was watching Blue Jean. Blue Jean was being great. Like I've never seen. It was based in Northern England during the Thatcher times, and that was a very. It's basically like when you compare what's happening today with this reactionary force to what was happening back in the 80s, it's basically the same modus operandi, just repackaged for the modern world with the social media now as well. Think about always thinking about the kids, thinking about the kids. For people who are so worried about the kids, they're kind of like too much thinking about the kids, right? You know, it's like every accusation a confession, they say, right?
There was a big issue in the Call of Duty scene as well with Nick Merckx. He's a big streamer who I've watched for years. Who said the same exact comment
about transgender issues. Like what agenda? Listen, if the agenda is okay, say they have an agenda, but the agenda is acceptance, understanding, and what is inclusivity. That's a great agenda. That's a great agenda. And honestly, prejudice is learned, not born. You're not born with it. You learn it. Okay, kids. You can see kids today. It's like there was a very interesting scene I saw when I went to have my haircut. If you didn't notice, I had a nice haircut, by the way. where there were some teenagers. One was wearing her Muslim clothes, and the others were normal teenagers, wearing short shorts. But they had no issue whatsoever with whatever she was wearing and with whatever the other people were wearing. So, like I said, prejudice is learned. You can unlearn prejudice. What Nick Merckx, like I said last time, this is like the whole world has become my high school again, and please don't follow this pipeline, like, guys. Again, if the agenda, because the agenda is mostly acceptance, understanding, inclusivity, and again, I was also mentioning earlier on with my father. I told him, if you feel transgender, what kind of processes you have to go through, and what like the hurdles you have to go through. And you see Jordan Peterson crying, "Oh, they're mutilating the kids." For someone to claim he's such an expert, he's really ignorant, huh? Anyway, this turned very This was the political episode of Ad Lib Podcast. Tell us what other political issues we have to consider. But yeah, go have your food, Andrea.
I will, because I'm very, very hungry. All right. So thank you so much to all our viewers, to all our listeners. Like we said, we promised next week we'll be doing the LGBTIQA+ episode where we'll talk about movies, which we've enjoyed from the past few years. All obviously LGBTIQA+ movies, which we've enjoyed from the past few years. So don't forget to check us out next week as well. Thank you, obviously, for checking out this week. We talked about a few movies, a couple of series as well. Some interesting news and some very good trailers. I'm very excited to watch The Flash this week. We'll see how that turns out. My expectations have been fluctuating for that movie, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you, Franco, as always, for joining.
Thank you, Andrea, for joining and doing this program. Down to episode 28 now. Stay tuned for another story of what is the Ad Lib Podcast all about.
Exactly. Ciao, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and for our listeners, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, the usual stuff, the usual jazz.
And thank you. Oh, yes. Stay tuned for the interview with Davey Shu.
And the interview with Davey Shu, exactly.
This Saturday.
Exactly. This Saturday. Ciao, guys.
Adios.